right, Ben, great to be with you here. And thanks again for your time. It's been great to work with you and the entire team at EBI in this important and exciting search for your next lower school division head. Just
Thank
want to
you,
talk a
Jay.
little bit about, yeah, of course, talk about your background and what drew you to the school, and let folks get a little window into the head of school there at EBI.
Absolutely. So I actually was originally drawn to EBI as a prospective parent because I live in the neighborhood where one of our campuses is and have for nearly 10 years. So that was actually my initial window into learning about EBI was seeing it as a neighborhood school and seeing the kids out playing and starting to think about it as a school for my own children because my partner and I were especially drawn to the Spanish part. Draws a lot of our families who are interested in a bilingual education, also the IB, and actually went through the process of being a prospective parent at EBI before I started working at EBI. So it's been a whole kind of fun twist and turn in my professional and personal life. So this past summer of 2023, I was hired to be the interim head of school. And I have just been named after going through a whole process to be the ongoing head of school, which I'm thrilled about and keeping all these good things going. But it's an amazing community, um, both as a prospective parent and I should say too, I am a current parent. My daughter is in preschool here at EBI, and we've been loving that to be a family in the community too. And I think I'm especially drawn to working in and being a family in a really international community focused on global citizenship and bringing a lot of different points of view and cultures together and being this really diverse space here in Oakland and Emeryville, California, that's very reflective of our city and neighborhood. And it just instills a lot of pride in me. So I love working here, and it's been a great fit for me to be part of the community.
That's great. And you talk about that community, which I think, as you said, is both diverse and brings a lot of different perspectives. And it's to me, each campus has a great sort of, smaller feel, the community. Everybody knows everybody. As you've walked the halls and gotten to know the teachers and the students, just what are some things that you've observed, and just talk about how you see the school operating on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. I'll stick mainly to our lower school division since that's the positioning that we're talking about. So our lower school is on the first floor of our San Pablo campus building, which is in Emeryville, which is a little town right next to Oakland in the Bay Area. And so our whole lower school is small, just over 100 kids, and it fits all on the first floor of this building. And so it's a really tight-knit community of kids, parents, teachers, and administrators. And the thing that I think is always striking to me when I roam the halls is one of my favorite things to do. I don't like being stuck in an office, and I don't think that the person in this lower school division head role should like that either. Obviously, at times you need to be stuck in your office, but um, it's just such a joyful place. We have kids that are clearly having fun learning, which is always something that I'm looking for as a head of school. Are the kids having fun? And what strikes me every day is, how much joy, as I said, there is at the school, how much the kids make me laugh, and how much they're really engaged in their learning. And again, to be doing it in two different languages, in Spanish and in English, is really incredible to see. I haven't worked at a language school before, a bilingual school before. So every day it is striking the breadth of communication skills that we're teaching. We talked about perspective taking a little earlier and the diversity in our community. That's all happening in grades 2 through 5. It's happening across our school, but it's really evident when you see kids who are stepping outside of the comfort zones of their own families, right? Is another thing. Many of our families don't speak Spanish at home. And so their students are learning a whole language and way of communicating in the world that's really outside of their experience, which is just another really dynamic thing that's always happening at EBI.
And speaking of dynamic and happening, I think this person, when they step into the role, is going to be a part of some change initiatives and sort of helping, as you start your administration as the permanent head, and just kind of talk about what's sort of on the docket, what this person can expect to step into and what you're looking for in your next partner to run the lower school.
Absolutely. It's a really important area for us. It's not a division that gets a lot of new kids transferring in because they already have to have quite a solid basis in both languages in order to be successful in grades 2 through 5. And so that again speaks to the really tight-knit nature of this division. We get a lot of new kids coming into preschool and kinder, and then we get a lot of middle school kids coming in at 6, but not so much in this division. So it's a really crucial division for us because there's not a lot of flux in it. And we really want to build a solid foundation for our kids to continue on and be successful in our middle school, or if they choose to go into a different middle school program. We keep most of our kids, but we want them to be ready for the next step. I think that where we are now is, as I've been in my interim year, we've wanted to really increase our responsiveness to issues that families and kids might have, to issues that teachers might have. So from an administrative perspective, making sure the trains are running on time, making sure teachers have what they need to teach, making sure that, again, family needs are responded to. And so that's been a really important part of this year, really kind of stabilizing the ship and making sure that everything's happening as it should. And I think we've had a really successful year in that regard. As we look forward to next year, we have a couple of bigger things on the horizon. We're phasing out our Mandarin language program so that our students can be more immersed in Spanish and have more instructional minutes in Spanish. This allows us to also be further in line with the IB in terms of our number of courses. That's International Baccalaureate. And another key piece of the puzzle for next year is we are reintegrating math and science into our 4th and 5th grade units of inquiry. That's all kind of IB speak. But the key point here is to have integrated units where students can be curious, explore subjects from myriad different perspectives and through many different subjects and lenses. In 3rd grade, we're shifting away from specialist teachers in science. And then, as I said, it's math and science in 4th and 5th. This curricular change is in line with the IB, and it's part of our overall goal to be more and more in line with the IB's best practices. So we're really looking for somebody who not only can own it, the role and the division, as far as, again, working with students, families, teachers, and the other administrators, but also to be a real academic leader, and working with our PYP coordinator, who we'll have for next year, and the teachers, of course. Those are really like the key things as I see it. So there's a great challenge ahead, but it's also it's a great opportunity, I think, to really mold our curriculum and our program to be more of what we want it to be, more of what we want to see in line with our mission and values. And again, as I was highlighting earlier, the best practices of the International Baccalaureate.
You've talked a lot about the IB and
Mhm.
sort of for somebody who may not have as much experience with it, but has knows of it, or talk about how how you see the lower school immersion component and the IB just sort of naturally fitting together. You've talked about, I think, the diverse culture. You've talked about the international sort of experience and recognition of a global
Mhm.
perspective on education, but just connect all that together and sort of how that boils down into the core of what EBI is.
If you look at the different, it's a great question, Gabe. If you look at the different profiles of what we want to see in an IB learner, you see how it really comes through and fits so well with the bilingual program. And if you talk about a kid being a risk taker, we want to encourage risk taking. Presenting, performing in another language, a second language for you. I mean, that says it all right there. It's taking risks, and we see our kids do that kind of thing every day. And that's just one example of the way in which these profiles that we want to see in our kids and skills, identities that we want to develop in them really flow through that language learning piece also. So it all fits quite nicely together. And I think that for me, I'm actually pretty new still to learning about the IB. Everything I learned, though, has fit so much in what I want to see in education. So many of the best practices that one sees in educational research are in the IB program when we talk about particularly PYP and also the middle years program. So we really want to see somebody who can, in this role, who can really add their expertise and hopefully have some IB knowledge to really lead, again, those changes that I was talking about before, but also really be a champion for what we do here because it is unique. We're the only school in Northern California that is, I think we actually say only school in the West Coast that is IB and Spanish English bilingual. So we are a unique learning environment. And it really is, as I said before, an incredible opportunity, I think, for the person who wants to mold a division, have this, great, foundation in place, which we do have, but also be able to take our division and whole school as a result to new and exciting places.
Speaking of new exciting places, the last question, I'm going to have you put your parent hat back on. I was at your campus recently, and it's just a beautiful lower school. I mean, and I'm pretty sure it used to be part of the old Berkeley Farm, so you can just, I mean, you have open space, which is just outstanding. The building is, has a lot of just a lot of elbow room and space and colorful decorations and the natural light. It's just an amazing facility. Your child isn't there yet, but as somebody who does roam the halls, what are you looking forward to? Just what have you seen? Maybe either a little story or something you've observed that you're excited about as a parent, and when your child enters a lower school, you just can't wait for this part of EBI to connect to your child.
Well, we recently had various Black History Month celebrations, and I attended our Black History Month assembly that was put on by the lower school students. Now, it really is amazing, I think, for somebody who hasn't, who isn't here every day, as I am at EBI, but I have these moments where it really kind of, it really is quite astounding. I was kind of alluding to this before, but let me paint the picture for you. So we had our student council made up of mostly their third, fourth, and fifth graders, but in particular, we had a couple of third graders. Now, this is out of a 2 through 5 division, leading an assembly about Black History Month in Spanish, and doing just a stellar job of it, having the whole division, all the teachers, all the kids right there in front of them, giving really thoughtful insight to why we were celebrating Black History Month. And, again, doing it in this very culturally reflective, sensitive, thoughtful kind of way in another language that was not, and I know for these two students, it was not their first language. Spanish is their second language. Was really quite astounding to me. And being a part of a community like that, and I was alluding to the neighborhood, but which I've lived in for almost 10 years now, we're definitely in an urban environment, which is phenomenal because we have, again, so many people from so many different walks of life, places, cultures, et cetera, experiences. And we're in this kind of urban oasis. We do have some space. We're not a big sprawling, outdoor campus, but we do have space. And I think when you come through the doors, it's really fun for me because you see the language change. People are speaking Spanish. Even those of us who aren't super, super comfortable in Spanish are trying, and it's like entering a different world. We have faculty and staff from over 15 different countries represented, all come together. And that's not even including our families. If you include our families, I don't even know what the number would be offhand. But it's just this really, really incredible kaleidoscope of people and experiences. And you see the kids really living that out, right? And for me, as a prospective parent, and now as a parent, that's really what I wanted to give. I mean, so much of what I've just been talking about in the last few minutes is what I wanted to be able to give my child, not just the academic, academic strengths of the IB program, which I see, which is, kind of more technical, and you can see how like, oh, these are great practices you want to see in classrooms, but just also the experience of the community and all the people being the kind of gift that for me as a parent, like I can't give that in my house, right? I can't, we don't speak, we predominantly speak English in my household, but so it's not, the gift of speaking Spanish is not something that we can give as parents in my household. So I look at it as this opportunity to give gifts that we can't as a family in and of ourselves. And I think so many of our families are drawn to that, right? To have this incredible opportunity of a school here that offers so much that just doesn't exist in other places.
Well said, and I hope this search brings you the gift of a wonderful lower school division head. We look forward to working with you the rest of this project, and thanks again for your time here, Ben. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much, Gabe.
All
Likewise.
right.